Hey, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Keith. So today I wanted to do something kind of truncated and quick to kind of get away from the super long kind of lessons that I've been doing. So what I wanted to roll through here is two different keys and how to practice the CAGED shapes within those keys and the pentatonic scales within those CAGED shapes. So the first one we're going to jump into is in the key of E. So I'm going to have this little droning technique that I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep this low E kind of droning through the whole thing. So how did I start this whole thing? I started it with the C-shaped E, and I'll show this whole thing. The C-shaped E. How do we get there? So if we think about CAGED, it starts off right here with this E in the open position, then a D shape, then a C shape right here, right? And it's important to know the next one is the A shape, and then off of the A is the G shape, then right back up to that E shape. So I started everything off by just hitting this E. So it's kind of important to know where all the different CAGED shapes are and where to kind of find them off the top of your head as quick as possible. The more you do it, the more it'll come to you. But I'm starting everything off here, and then I'm going to run through the open major pentatonic scale for E, but in kind of a diagonal shape, but I'm skipping, I believe, the 6th or the 5th. So instead of adding this one in for the pentatonic, I'm skipping that guy there. So and that brings me all the way up here to this octave. So when I'm here, I have a couple different options. I'm right back at that pentatonic scale that I was looking at down here, but I'm looking at it up here. And you don't have to kind of memorize every single note within the pentatonic scale off the top of your head, but what you can do is truncate it. I know that if I'm down here and if I wanted to do an E major pentatonic, I could just use these top 3 strings. So, and all the while I'm keeping this low E droning. And if you think about right here, this is that triad for the E, and I'm adding the octave here, so. Then I know the A-shaped E is right here in the 7th fret. And then what can we do out of there? We have the pentatonic scale. But I don't really like playing the pentatonic scale, the major pentatonic scale, off of the A shape. I would rather do something else to get me into the G shape E right here, because the G shaped E has a scale that is way more comfortable to play. So if I start right here with this E, I could do the diagonal pentatonic and slide right up into this G shape E and use that familiar pentatonic scale. So that is a very similar pattern to what we have for the A minor pentatonic scale. Everybody knows that. A minor, B minor, doesn't matter. But for the sake of it, it's A minor. But we're replicating it up here. But instead, we're starting right here on this low E instead of starting it down here. So this is the E. Everything else kind of matches that same fingering pattern as a minor pentatonic scale. Ends here. We don't go back here. We end it here on that E because that's the key that we're in. So let's just stitch that together. We have the A-shaped E. And right here, I'm jumping up to this E shape, same thing we have down here in what I just discussed. So all these different shapes, I would encourage you to kind of run through it. Even, with the C-shaped E right here, you could finger, kind of hold it down this way. It's kind of hard to do the pentatonic scale if you're out of the C shape within the same. At least I find it difficult to do that. So what I like to do is find that root note and work off of that. Then I want to kind of slide down here because I'm kind of hitting this A triad here, which is kind of shares a lot of similarities to the major pentatonic scale. But instead of keeping on droning with that E, which does work, I like to switch it up to droning that A when I'm down here. So let's just kind of go back to the square one here and see how that sounds. Then hit the harmonic. All right, so that's kind of how I like to roll around and practice this whole pentatonic scale within the CAGED system. Let's not stop there because there's another cool trick that I wanted to show you. It's in the key of D. So instead of using the E, I want to drone on the D, but I don't want to use the D string because I'm going to use that for my solos. So now I'm in drop D. So what exactly am I doing here? I am doing the same thing, droning on that D, and this is a little lick that Guthrie Trapp, I kind of stole it from him. So I guess we could learn it now. So I'm just going from the 5th fret to the 7th fret on the B, and I'm hitting every subsequent string, the note prior, open. So it's... and going into that little diagonal, but then I'm going into these 6. So if we wanted to skip all that, let's go to this A shape. Now it's important to keep in mind, since we did detune the low E to a D, we're not going to be able to, at least I'm not going to be able to solo using this lower string. I want to keep it as that droning note. So what I could do is hit that E. I know my anchor for this A-shaped D chord is right here on the 5th fret of the A string. And what do I do there? The easiest thing to do is the diagonal pentatonic. And I'm right back up an octave, and I'm in that wonderful G-shaped D chord that has exactly what I talked about before. This is the D major pentatonic scale. Instead of starting down here, we would start right here, but we're already tuned down to a D here, so let's just move from the top to the bottom. So let's run through that diagonal after that, and we're gonna hang around. Uh, so that's kind of what I wanted to show you today, was kind of droning on the key or the note for the key that you want to play, and then running through. And even if you just want to pick a spot, I would encourage this. Let's say we have a D. This is a D, for example, right? Hit that A and then run up with a diagonal pentatonic. But keep that drone. Hit that chord first. So that's what I would. So that's what I would. So that's what I would encourage practicing, is just hitting those droning notes and picking your favorite shape. Again, like I said, it's always wonderful to practice on that G shape of whatever you're wanting to learn from, and rolling from that A to the G shape. And you can get so much off of so little of the fretboard there, and then before you know it, you'll be able to move all the way up and down at a whim, and then you'll be able to work on chord changes next. So I really do hope that helped, and if it did, please like, subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Thank you. That was so messed up.